Welcome to the Candid Conversation Show. I'm your host, Marilyn Fontaine, artist and creative coach for women who want success and income with ease. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Candid Conversations. This is episode 10. Can you believe it? 10 episodes already. Thank you for joining me for International Women's Month. It was amazing sharing with all those women that I interviewed. It's really funny because I went to Devon last weekend, and when I came back, last week I just really took it easy. Didn't realise how I really needed to be out in nature. I haven't been away since the beginning of the pandemic. Well, I went away to Norfolk, that's a lie. But I haven't been away where I didn't have to cook and clean up after myself. Well, clean, but, cook, have food on demand. It was so lovely. So, self-love retreat. And I'll put the details in the show notes because I think that most people can benefit from it. People ask me if I'm going to be doing a retreat. There will be a VIP day coming up around the solstice, but I'm not too sure about a retreat this year. I've done retreats in St. Lucia, and retreats can be hard work. I am really busy with my clients, so they really have to be worthwhile for me to do. I get a lot of people requesting retreats, like me, if I would like to do a retreat. So I do have a contact sheet on my website. However, here's the thing. When you do a retreat, it's the organisation, it's really great, but working and holding space in a hot country isn't as easy as one would think. It's lovely if you're doing yoga by the sea, but when you're holding actual emotional space, especially as a person, I'm pitta, so I'm hot already, so I can't stand the heat that well. So the space has to be really, really shaded for me. But it's really, I'm really intense when I work, so it's not as easy energetically as one would think. I'd rather have a holiday. So I have quite a lot of terms and conditions if I'm going to be doing a retreat. So if people are interested, they really would have to use that contact form to book me. However, I'm really reluctant to commit to retreats if it doesn't feel right, if it's not in alignment with my business model or what I'm currently doing, because I really need to be there for my clients, and that is my priority. So any disruptions, I would not be able to actually see my clients during that week or weeks of a retreat, because I really have to work at 100% capacity when I'm working with my clients energetically. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. So these are things to consider. So for me, just being a participant in a retreat was so nice, because I got to receive, and there's always something to learn, and there's always something more to know about other people. I'm about other people, so that is really, really lovely. Okay, so I just wanted to share that with you. So I'm refreshed. I think I'm getting a bit of hay fever now because it's pollen season, so that's coming up. So again, it's working on my gut flora to see how I can normalise that. So today, I want to talk about, and I keep seeing this, when people have, you're creative, you're pioneer. I spoke about being a pioneer in my earlier, season 1, about being a pioneer and being able to do many things. And I still live by that, because I do I have capacity to do a lot of different things. But for me, what makes life so much more delicious and easy is being able to concentrate on one thing at a time. Yes, I do paint and I do have a coaching business, but they are segmented, and I have maximized myself in both areas. What I mean, I've immersed myself. The world knows what I've done in both areas, and I've completed several projects using both systems. So with my coaching, I work with my clients who are creatives and they're business women and high achieving business women. I run a high ticket coaching practice, which means it's not a cheap coaching practice, but it's really value based. And it's for high achieving women. And so I've immersed myself in that business. I've started from the bottom, as Drake says, and I've moved to the top in terms of what I see is my fullest potential. And actually, I'll take a couple of steps back. Not my fullest potential, but in terms of really giving value, and really showing up and really bringing all my tools to the table. That's the top I mean. I don't mean the major top. I mean, that kind of top in terms of capacity and stretching myself to the person I needed to become. Now I'm reinventing myself as a coach again, so I can stretch myself even more. And that is the same thing I'm doing as an artist. I've reached a certain level in my practice. Now I'm reinventing myself, not changing my art, changing the mediums, but reinventing or stretching myself. And so for me, working with both mediums as an artist and a coach, and being in a place where I'm expanding who I am even more. So finding out places and experiences or capabilities that I thought I didn't have. So learning new things about myself in those roles, it reinforms my decision to just focus on one thing. So when I did my coaching, I wasn't doing my art so much. I just focused on the coaching. And then when I started to develop myself as an artist, I remember I was doing not a 9 to 5, like a part-time kind of self-employed teaching job. So I didn't have to think about that. So I could develop my practice as an artist. I got my studio, had my exhibition, starting to produce calendars. So I really immersed myself in that. That's all you saw with my business. And then I pulled back and went to study to learn even more art techniques again. And then I picked up my coaching practice. So I wasn't really focusing on selling artwork. I was just focusing on development and getting the work out there. And then I was able to work, both things alongside each other, because I had pushed myself and felt comfortable in my skin doing both of those roles. So I did my 10,000 hours with each of those disciplines, and therefore they could run alongside each other. And here's the thing. I've got my coaching business to a place of ease because I invested in the support to be able to get it running so I can do my artwork alongside it. And when I did book my, my coaching program with Tavona, Denise, and she does the launch clinic now, I did a program with her, and it was an amazing investment. It was the most I invested in myself, at the time. And it was the best thing I could have done because she gave me, with her program, the tools to create, to create to up level my business, charge what I'm worth, also create great launch, stress-free launches, and look at my copy, so many different things. How was I messaging myself out into this world? As a coach, how was I connecting with people? And it just took away all the white noise. And when we was looking at my business, she was saying, well, how many days do you want to create your art? And we can work around that. Not, how many hours do we need to work to get clients? No, how can we work smart and bring in the abundance to support my spirit, not to support my art business, to support my spirit, doing that work, sorry. And so that was really important because I was able to do it. What I'm seeing is a lot of people, they've got one thing going. And I keep saying this, I used to be that person. They would get one thing going, then they'll move to something else, then they'll move to another thing. And then they don't trust. I always say 1 anthropological year. So that means all the seasons doing that one thing. Pardon me. Because you get to test it. Business is about testing. This is why in business we have forecasts, annual forecasts, monthly forecasts, targets, because you're testing what works and what doesn't work. And then you're able to see, okay, well, that works, that doesn't work. I can adjust this and I can do that. Not that doesn't work, so I'm going to try something else. Because if you was doing that in your 9 to 5, if you have one, or your boss was doing it, you would be out of work, right? So it's about, staying that path and doing that. And so when I see people chop and change, they're never the people that have the money to invest in their self because they can't afford to stand still. Not that they can't afford coaching. They cannot afford to stand still because their mind is running the show. And this is where you need to go back and listen to my, my Hermetic Laws, the Kabbalion episode, if that is you, if this is you. Because, I can't afford to do it. So you say, I'm going to do this to bring in money. Then I'm going to do this to bring in money. It's literally, nobody can understand what you're doing. So it's really, your offer's so not clear. You're doing 100 different things. And if you want to make money, pick one thing to focus on to let the world know what you're doing. At the back end, if you want to do a car boot or you want to be on eBay, you want to do other things, that's fine. But remember where your energy is going. So if you're saying I've got to promote this and I've got to do this and promote that, you're promoting too many things. Too many things you're promoting. So this part of this podcast is to those of you who feel that you can't invest in premium coaching of any kind. I don't care what coaching it is, whether it's visibility, whether it's general coaching to manage your mind, whether it's business, whether it's confidence. If you cannot invest in that, then you can't afford to run a business. You cannot afford to run a business because what you are doing, you're a slave to a mind that is consistently creating the same problem over and over again. Groundhog Day for your mind. That's what I'm going to call it, this podcast episode. Groundhog Day for your mind. You're consistently recreating the same thing, just with different hats. And so you're moving on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and you're wondering why your business is only going so far. Now, as an artist, I see not so much artists because they're quite clear with what they want to do, but in terms of painting artists, but when I see people that pull themselves under the guise of creative, so they haven't really claimed their artistic process yet. So they'll do different things, which is fine, but they'll move to different mediums and think that that is going to bring in an income rather than commit to their artistic story and allow that to inform them and open up their mind so they can do more and package that into something that is profitable. And when we're not owning our artistic license and artistic stamp, this is what we tend to do, so many different things. And, if you've got several disciplines, you can make money from them, but that is only after you have grounded yourself with one offer. And you could package that offer into, okay, I'll give an example. You have got a creative business and you are making money, you're doing maybe graphic design for people, but you really want to do your own stuff. So, 1 minute you want to do, jackets, the next minute you want to do jewellery, then you're making perfumes. So you've got all those disciplines, your graphic design is making money, but you're not happy. The best thing would be to invest in a coach for clarity so you can really look at what you're doing and the offer that you've got. But also that coach can hear my voice went funny. That coach can help you look at the areas in your life which really turns you on. So out of the perfume, the jackets, the jewellery, which one of those disciplines do you really like really, really are passionate about? And, marry that up with what you've always really wanted to do if you couldn't fail. So, what would you do if you knew you had money in the bank? Which one of these disciplines would you do? Now, some people say, I want to do all of them. That is not true. That's a surface answer. When you chunk deep, when you, with the right questions, when, for example, I want to do all of them. Well, which one, if you was a child, would you have chosen? Oh, clothes. Why? Because, I love designers. Why are you not doing it now? Because because somebody said I don't make money. I can't make money from clothes, or, the market's saturated. So can you see? So somebody's, because of what another person said, you're not choosing to do that thing you love to do. And there is the main choice. Okay, we can work with that. Let's work with what would a business look like if you had, you was able to just do the clothes that you wanted. Now, maybe it's not making clothes. Maybe it is combining outfits. Maybe it's curating clothes. It could be curating a digital store. Creating a shop front online. It could be putting clothes together. It could be talking about clothes. It could be styling, but it could be just bringing those disciplines together. It could be around fashion, maybe textiles, maybe the stuff you love in jewelry is intricate designs. Could be, so we could go into surface pattern design. Can you see? So from just looking at like jewelry, clothes and perfume, or, what is it you like about perfume? The floral scent, you love flowers. Again, it's about, maybe I can design something around flowers. Sometimes what we think we like is a combination of different things, but behind that, there's one great love. I love changing people's moods. I love people moving from one state of mind to another. I've been an aromatherapist. I've been a fashion designer. I'm an artist. There's flowers. Flowers are very significant in my art. Can you see a pattern here? So for me, when I do my art, I used to teach massage. So the anatomy, I love life drawing. So, figures now is really prominent because of my love of anatomy. But again, that might change. But what I do is I take the risk because I feel I have the confidence of learning. If something doesn't go right, what do I need to do to adjust it? And so what I want to give you is the gift of really questioning yourself. If you've got so many ideas and you want to do so many things, is questioning, what is the one thing I can choose to do and stick by that and show the world, this is the one thing I'm rocking with at the moment. This is the one thing I'm having in my life that I'm going to give to the world as a service. And then, even if you've got your money job or your other vocation that is supporting it, really commit to that one thing. And I will say one anthropological year. Like all the seasons, go for all the seasons with this one thing. Because I can guarantee you, it's not because this one thing isn't working why you ain't bringing in an income or the income that you want. It's because you're not believing in that. You're not investing, which is the key thing. You're not investing in the right support to get this thing off the ground. So you're actually costing yourself more money because you're making so much mistakes. You're getting websites, you're spending man hours trying to make something work. And that is because you're not getting the sales or the offers that you need. You are feeling disheartened. And so it's spilling into other areas. So you're not requesting your worth in other areas because you're feeling a bit low. If you have your business and you're making a bit of a profit, you're not going to the next level of your business. And this post, most of my clients are high achieving women, so they are making their money and they are doing well. They may have a bit of mind drama of, do I trust this? Maybe I need to do something else. But on the whole, if I have a level of, actually, this is what I want to do because they've invested, so they are moving forward. And most of you that are listening would have made a decision. But there is some people, and I'm having a lot of conversations with, not people that come to me, but just general conversation where people are saying, well, I've got too many ideas and I don't know what to choose from. Choose your discipline. Look at successful people or the people that are doing the work and flying. They are choosing a discipline and they're working for it. Just think of it. This is a part in words. When you get married, it depends on your vows, right? But most marriages, in sickness and in health, your business, your passion, your creativity is a marriage review. It's actually a relationship. So you would stay with a partner even though you'd go through certain problems, wouldn't you? Therefore, why wouldn't you stay with an idea even through the times where it may not be working? Why would you abandon that idea if it's something you truly love? And that's it. Food for thought. Let me know what you think about this. Share this podcast with the people that you know really may need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, and rate this show on any of the platforms that you're listening to this podcast on. Next week, I'll be talking with my client, my former client. Well, she's still a client as far as I'm concerned, Tracy, who Tracy James of Tracy James Design. And she'll talk about her journey, like working with me, and also getting her amazing bags and cushions out. She started with bags, and now she's moved on to cushions, and there'll be various other things. But she has a beautiful bag line, and she has realised that she can set her own rules, but she just has to be consistent, which she is. Until then, bye for now. You want to be part of an incubator of some amazing creative women, then you need to join the Highly Capable Creative one-to-one program with me. To join, you can just contact me at www.mjfontaine.co.uk and book a sales call with me to join this amazing 6-month program where we get to work on your creative business. We also get to work clearing your blocks and also bringing that confidence up to 100 so you can stand in your agency and live your best life.